What if depression wasn't this permanent state of being, but more like a pattern, a feedback loop in the brain that just gets stuck? Well, the cool thing is, neuroscience shows us that what gets stuck can also get unstuck. So let's dive into the science of how we get stuck and, way more importantly, how to kickstart an upward spiral, one tiny step at a time. This scenario from neuroscientist Alex Korb, it probably sounds pretty familiar to a lot of us, right? It all starts with these small, totally harmless seeming choices. You skip one party, you stay up just a little too late, but these tiny decisions, they can snowball, creating this really powerful downward momentum before you even realize it.
And hey, if you're nodding along to that, you are definitely not alone. That feeling of being completely stuck in a rut isn't some kind of personal failing. It's actually a predictable, scientific process that's happening inside your brain.
Yeah, that process is what we call the downward spiral. And the most important thing to get here is that it's not a flaw in your brain's design. It is the design. It's just gotten stuck on a negative feedback loop. What makes this whole thing so powerful is just how stable it is. Your brain actually gets comfortable in that pattern. It's like a marble in a bowl. Any little push you give it, like trying to feel better for a day, often just causes it to roll right back down into that familiar low energy state. I love this analogy. Think of it like a microphone getting too close to a speaker. You get that awful screeching feedback, right? The microphone isn't broken, the speaker isn't broken. The problem is the interaction between them. That's your brain in a depressive state. The system is just out of whack. So, to really understand that feedback loop, we gotta meet the two main players. First up, you've got your prefrontal cortex. Think of it as your thinking brain, the CEO. It's the logical, planning, decision-making part. And then you've got the limbic system, the feeling brain. This part's ancient, it's emotional, and it's responsible for all those gut feelings: fear, anxiety, desire, the whole shebang. And that's where the problem really starts. The CEO, your thinking brain, is supposed to be in charge, right? It's supposed to manage the very emotional, feeling brain. But in depression, that line of communication just breaks down. The feeling brain gets way too loud, and the thinking brain just can't get a word in edgewise. So how does the brain actually maintain this rut? I mean, it's not a passive state. There are active biological mechanisms that keep reinforcing it. Let's take a look at what's going on under the hood. Okay, first off, we all have something called a negativity bias. It's an old evolutionary feature meant to keep us safe. It's just smarter to pay more attention to a tiger in the bushes than a pretty flower. But depression takes this feature and turns the volume way up. The brain's fear center, the amygdala, can stay fired up for more than twice as long, which makes it almost impossible to feel calm and think rationally. And get this. Because our brains give so much more weight to negative things, some research suggests we need about 3 positive events just to emotionally balance out a single negative one. I mean, think about that. When your brain is already fixated on the negative, you can see how hard it is to get that ratio right. All right, next up is a part of the brain called the striatum. This is your brain's powerful habit center. It's autopilot. It's what runs all your routines, from brushing your teeth to scrolling on your phone. And it doesn't judge, it just repeats whatever it's done before. And here's the trap. When you're stressed or feeling down, your brain doesn't want to waste energy on something new. So the striatum defaults to the most well-worn paths, those old, comforting habits that might give you a tiny bit of relief in the moment, but ultimately just keep that downward spiral spinning. Okay, that is enough about the problem. Let's talk about the solution. Because just as powerfully as there's a downward spiral, there is an upward one. And it's all built on the incredible, wonderful fact that your brain is not fixed in stone. This one concept is the key to everything: neuroplasticity. It's the simple but honestly profound idea that your experiences, your thoughts, your actions, they all physically change your brain. You can literally build new roads, new pathways in your mind. So an upward spiral doesn't mean you have to make one giant leap. Not at all. Instead, it's about making small, simple life changes that create concrete biological changes in your brain. We're talking about altering its electrical activity, its chemical soup, and even growing new brain cells. And this is the most empowering part. You don't need some massive, heroic burst of willpower to get started. All it takes is one tiny push, one small nudge in the right direction to get that positive momentum going. So let's get practical. how do you actually give your brain that first tiny push? What does that look like in real life? I mean, this is the big question, isn't it? When your motivation is at rock bottom, when you have zero energy, where in the world do you start? The answer is almost deceptively simple. You don't start by trying to fix everything all at once. You start with just one thing, one tiny change. A fantastic place to start is to just move your body. You don't have to run a marathon. Even a short walk does incredible things. It boosts serotonin, which helps with willpower. It releases dopamine, which helps you feel enjoyment. And it increases a chemical called BDNF, which is literally like fertilizer for your brain, helping new neurons grow. Okay, number 2, make a decision. And I mean any decision. It could be what to eat for lunch. See, when you're indecisive, your emotional brain just spins and spins in a loop of anxiety. But the moment you make a choice, any choice, you engage your logical thinking brain. That simple act creates a sense of control, which helps calm the whole system down. And third, try activating your gratitude circuit. This is a direct counterattack on that negativity bias we were talking about. Practicing gratitude literally forces your brain to stop scanning for threats and start scanning for positives, which then gives you a nice little boost of serotonin. And the easiest way to start? Just take 10 seconds to remember one good thing that happened today. That's it. So let's just bring it all home. Your brain isn't fundamentally broken. It's just stuck in a rut, in a pattern. And the keys to getting it unstuck are these small, totally accessible actions that anyone can take. Moving your body, making a simple choice, finding one thing to be grateful for. Every one of those tiny actions starts to reverse that negative feedback loop, building positive momentum. So really, the only question left to ask is this: what's the one tiny first step you're going to choose to start your upward spiral?